Hey, you guys. All right, happy Friday, the day before Valentine's Day here. And well, you know what? When you talk about Valentine's Day, you talk about love, you talk about passion. And I thought it'd be actually really kind of fun to actually go ahead and talk about one of my buddies whom I've known now for quite a few years. In fact, he actually just landed on the cover of Hot VW's magazine, you guys. The current Hot VW's is going to have the bucket truck, so I think you guys now know who I'm talking about. And well, you guys, welcome Mike Farnham.
Yeah,
Mike, it's good to have you here. And you know, it's been a while, and I've known you now for, years.
A long
you know,
time.
because I mean, you even when Dave was alive. So,
right. I didn't even realize that when we were talking about Dave. I thought, oh, this was a long time ago, and then you go, no, he just passed away, and so it was like. Yeah, really kind of a weird thing, you know, when that happened. So
yeah, and in fact, Mike actually ended up buying Dave's camper, his SO23, and you know, giving new life to that. So yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and you guys might know him also from his channel. Your glasses are kind of covering your name there.
I can take them off.
So Mike Effin Garage, a lot of you guys know his channel, and he's always bringing all sorts of cool tips. He's also showing you the restoration process of, from Gias to Type 1s to obviously the bucket truck. You know, it was kind of cool because speaking of the bucket truck, I remember when that first came in, I thought, oh my God, this thing's gonna need extensive work.
It was yours first.
Yeah, it was mine first.
And I was the dumb enough guy to take it over when everybody else looked at it and they go, there's no way you're ever gonna fix that car.
Right?
I mean, everybody. We had Charlie Hamill, all the biggest guys in Volkswagens. I mean, I remember Kimball Rich was like, oh my God, that thing's like totally wrecked. You're never gonna save that.
Yeah.
And then they didn't really know that I had it at that time. And then they found out when it was done that it was me that was doing it. So it was crazy,
Nobody could believe it because I remember I had shown a video of it when I was following it after I picked it up at the port. It was on a flatbed, and I remember I was riding behind it, and it sounded like it was raining, and it was rust and metal falling off the bed of the flatbed, and I thought, oh my God, it's raining bucket truck, and I was just kind of like, oh no, you know, I couldn't believe it. And then I ended up getting the 64 bucket truck, which actually Mike and I have chatted about bringing that one back to life, you guys, which we'll have to do that one. Yeah. But Mike came up to me and he said, hey, he goes, I think I want to buy your bucket truck and I want to go ahead and do some videos on it. And dude, awesome job, man. You definitely brought that thing to life.
That was actually before when we talked about that, I was like, and then I had bought that SO, what was it?
Yeah, the SO23.
No, the SO42. And then I was in the middle of that and you're like, hey, do you think you really want the bucket truck? I'm like, okay. But I knew that the money was going to go to another high roof that you were going to get. So it was all going to bring the community some new stuff. And I thought, man, you know what? Okay, I definitely will do it. And then it became, then COVID happened, I think.
I know. Remember that? I know, it's crazy, man. But I got to tell you, you know, I mean, Mike's got a lot of really cool cars, and as you guys have seen through his channel and just over the years, if anybody knows him, all the different things that he's worked on. But I kind of wanted to focus on him, actually, just because of the fact that I've always said so many times we see people at shows and we think, oh, I know that guy, you know, but the reality of it is we really don't know much about that person. And so I kind of wanted to get your history down as far as, dude, when did the whole Volkswagen thing start for you?
Well, it started, my first car was a VW, and it kind of really started when I was, before that, my parents, my aunt and uncle were from New England, okay? And my uncle brought my mom over. He said, come on over here, it's really cool, because they were the closest out of the six, right? So he says, well, listen, if you come over here, I'll always live near you.
Wow.
And so my parents never had a Volkswagen, ever. They couldn't own one. My dad couldn't fix anything. But my uncle, who lived a mile away, always had Volkswagens. And so that was what really got me into it, because they were like my extended family. So it's kind of unique. A lot of people don't know that. And so my first car I bought from my cousin, who flew in to stay with my aunt and uncle.
Wow.
Because everybody would come over, and they were kind of like the little place where everybody came. He bought a 62, and it was in Santa Barbara, and it was what we would call a totally dry car today. It was super surface rusted and bent and dented and broken, but it ran great. So I was like, I wasn't really that confident in my mechanical skills at that point. So I bought that car. Was my first one.
And how old were you then?
I was 16.
Okay.
I got it right. I mean, literally right when I was 16. I mean, I had another car. My parents gave me a 67 Chevelle, which would have been pretty cool.
Oh.
But yeah, which would have been a really neat car. It was a post car, but back then, you know, nobody cared about post cars, but now they would want it. So, but I had that, and then I sold that and took the money from that, worked at somewhere, you know, like Allied Van Lines, moving furniture in the summer.
Oh, wow.
And then I used that money and the money I had and some money I got from my grandmother to come up with $300
oh my God.
for my first Volkswagen that ran and drove, and I drove it home from Santa Barbara.
That's
so
awesome.
Crazy.
$300.
Yeah, $300 bucks.
Cool.
But it ran and drove. That was the whole thing, is I could use it to get to school and all that. And then it just progressed from there.
Huh?
Got my first bus was in around 81. I had my first bus was actually a 21 window. And
that was your first
it
bus.
was this crazy guy, had it in the backyard, and my friend was like grooming this guy for a long time. A good friend of mine, Kenny.
To sell it?
Yeah, to sell it to me. And so Kenny goes, hey, George is ready to sell it. I go, really? And so we conjured up, it was $75 I bought it for. It was a shell. It was, today it would be dry, totally restorable, something you would buy and you go, oh my God, I just totally scored.
Yeah.
Because like the skylight roof was in good shape.
Oh my gosh.
All that, you know, but the nose was cut off.
Oh, the nose was cut off.
Yeah, the nose was cut off. So back then, you couldn't go to Wilkesburg West and buy a nose.
Right.
You know, you had to go to the junkyard and cut one off of something, and it was a real big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ended up selling that. And then my same friend, a few years later, or a few months later, I think it wasn't even a whole year, he says, hey, I found another one.
Oh my God.
Because I was looking for, I wanted a 21 or 23 window. All the other buses were kind of useless to us at that point. So, but I go, I don't care if it's original, I don't care if it's not. So it was a combi bus.
Oh, okay.
That had cut in 21 windows, but it had the corner windows and it had the blank just in the side.
So it was like what we call an 11 window.
Yeah, it was an 11 window, and they put in the corner windows.
That's funny.
With this aftermarket rubber and the roof windows, but they did a good job and it looked cool. And back then we didn't care.
Right.
We didn't even know.
Right.
If it was original or not. We didn't. Guys, I'd take it to events and be like, is that original? I don't know. You know, and we just drive it. I don't know. Just my driver. It was my engine's in it. And the whole reason I got a VW bus was when I was in high school. One of the guys who helped me lower my car for the first time. So I had this, you know, patina today. Back then it was junk. Lowered Beetle that was all smashed in the front and beat out with hammers and everything. And that was my daily, right? But my buddy had a bus that was all painted and stuff, and I go, you know, maybe one of those would be kind of cool to have as a second car. So that's why I ended up with the bus thing, and then I just kept a bus all these years. I've always had one.
That's pretty neat, man. So
sold off the Beetle, you know, because I didn't, you know, there was times that I didn't need it, but I've always had a bus, and I had that same bus until 2011.
Wow.
And I don't think I would want it back.
Okay.
Everybody goes, I want that old car I had back. I'm like, I've moved on from that. I had it so long. I was like, okay, I've had enough. I'm
it's
ready
funny
for
how
else.
I mean, I try to think back to some cars that, I mean, maybe there's one that I think, okay, I wouldn't mind having it back. But then I think, well, why did I sell it to begin with? You know?
Yeah.
And then you start playing tricks in your mind. But no, that's pretty neat. I'll tell you, you know, it's cool, the cars that you've had.
Yeah. Let me tell you some other stuff that was kind of weird. So I worked so this is all like important stuff a lot of people don't know in Europe and stuff like that, maybe watch your videos. So I got a job. I showed up at a place and I'd been a body paint guy at a little body shop. I was helping out like a helper. And then I was painting on my own cars in the garage at home. And so I went into this friend of mine, and he says, hey, come by my dad's shop. And it was McPeak's Painting in Riverside. So Richard McPeak painted the Inch Pincher, Lightning Bug, Dino's Dinosaurus, all the famous Volkswagens, all the lettering. He did all the lettering. He did the first Crankin' Wagon. I don't know if you even remember that.
Wow.
That old Crankin' Wagon, that was at our shop. So all this stuff was happening at our shop, you know. And so I went there, and I just went there, and I was just there hanging out with my buddy, and he goes, I go, what's going on with this truck? And he goes, well, I don't know. I got to wait for my dad. I said, why do we need to wait for your dad? We need to just mask it off. Start masking it off. So we start masking it off, getting it all ready. And his dad walks over and he goes, it's about time you guys started working.
No way.
You know, so, and he comes back later, hey, you want a job? And I'm like, okay.
How old were you?
Yeah, I was like 18, I think.
Okay.
At the time, 18.
That's cool.
And so I got to work at McPeak's Painting, who was, you know, one of the biggest world-renowned painters that people know now.
Yeah.
Back then, it was just, you know, a cool little shop that painted mini trucks, you know. So
wow.
The next thing that happened is next door to us was Daryl Vitone's Tectonics.
Wow.
So like Colin Guyens and we all became friends, and we were like hanging out all the time.
And did you know at the time? I mean, who would have ever thought that these would be like icons?
I knew who Daryl Vitone was. Everybody did. I mean, you kind of knew. And so like Joe Vitone used to come over to the shop, and it was like whenever Joe showed up, it was like, so that's the founder of EMPI, that people don't know. Okay. He shows up, and like we're working on something, everybody stops. Whatever we're doing, it was like burp, burp. The sanders stop, the spray guns stop. Everybody goes around, and we would get like made a big circle, and just we're just talking and listening to Joe. Joe always had stuff to say that was worth listening to.
That's cool.
So it was really cool. So I got to meet Joe Vitone, Daryl Vitone, and some of the other. I'm trying to think. There was even more people. I mean, we had Pizzo Brothers. If you guys old school remember drag racing, Pizzo Brothers, they used to be friends with us. Fumio.
Oh wow.
So I worked there. Then I worked at a little VW shop called Precision Bug Builders. And Fumio used to come over all the time. I'm trying to think of all these. And Bob Godfrey, who had the old Carmagia that ran. He was so consistent, and he's still doing drag racing now, and I talk to him all the time. And he used to come over all the time. We were friends, and so I was in the circle of these really cool dudes that were like legends now, you know. Totally. It was like, so, and I never really at the time, you just kind of take it for granted. You didn't really think about.
That was your daily life.
Yeah, it was just like, I was just.
Which today people would be like, oh my God.
Yeah. It was, and so I didn't really think about that stuff that much. I never really even talked to you about it back then. It wasn't until like, I knew you for like 5 or 6 years. I go, you know, I used to hang out with these guys. You're like, what?
I know.
Shin,
I was like, really?
Like,
seriously?
Shin's like, wait a minute. You knew Daryl Vitone? I go, yeah. Dude, he was just like next door neighbor.
Right.
It was no big thing. And we just went over but at the time, back then, we'd be talking, right? And I go in and I say, hey, you know, what cam would work good with this engine, blah, blah. And I remember talking to Daryl one day, and he goes, Mike, it's only water cooled now. Wow. We don't talk about air cooleds here.
What?
And I was like, so when Daryl later on, this was like before he passed away, he ran the Inch Pincher over at, you know, he was using it was like a borrowed car, right? The Inch Pincher, the replica one. He was over at the dragway, and I show up there. I didn't know he was going to be there, but I had a feeling. And so I show up there, there's Colin. I walk up behind Colin. I go, hey, Mike, hey, Colin. And he turns around and he goes, oh, my God. You know, we're like, just like back old times, 30 years later.
Yeah.
And Daryl, oh, man, hey, Mike, what's going on? So it was like, we just got this last time to hang out together. And this was before COVID and before I was even really doing much on YouTube. And we got to hang out together and run the Inch Pincher. And I got to re-ask the question.
Oh my God.
And so I came back and I said, so Daryl, what's up with the air cooleds now? I had to do it.
And what did he say?
He's like, we're older and wiser now. That was his answer.
Come on, man.
That's like,
really?
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
That's funny.
And everybody goes, well, was Daryl, he was just staging the drag race. It was like, Daryl would never stage a race. It was like,
wow.
He was like, they were like, hey man, could you like throw this race and let the lightning bug have one? And he goes, and Daryl turns to Colin and he says, no mercy. And Colin turns to me, he says, Daryl says, no mercy.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, he's not going to let him have a race.
Wow.
Daryl was all the way drag
super
racer all the way
competitive.
through. So it was,
neat.
It was really neat to see that side of things that I'd never really gone to the track. When we were younger, they used to invite me to the track all the time, and I never went. I didn't go to the bug ends.
Why?
I don't know. I was more into the inter shows.
Yeah, I remember the inter shows. Yeah.
And that's where I crossed paths with Charlie Hamill.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
So the weirdest thing is I'm there and I'm like, didn't you used to have like a double cab? Me and Charlie are having this moment, like talking, and he goes, yeah, that one right there. I go,
wow.
You and your brother.
Yeah.
He's like, I bought stuff from you guys back then.
That's
funny.
He's
like, no way.
I think that's the one that says Soto Bus on it now, right?
Yeah. The red.
Yeah. It's a sealing wax red double cab.
Yeah.
Cool
it's
truck.
A really cool truck.
Wow, what a small world. Did he remember you?
No, he didn't know. But then the other thing that happened back then, the other thing that triggered, so we were talking and he goes, yeah, then Doug shows up one time. And I go, yeah, really? And we were talking and he goes, Doug shows up and he's selling emblems. And all of a sudden I'm going, I remember. Like, he goes, he's selling emblems. And I'm like literally standing on one side of everybody. Charlie's standing over here, right? And Charlie picks up all the emblems. He goes, how much? And then Doug says something like $10.
Oh my God.
And all the emblems. And I'm like, oh dude, I need one. I need an emblem. Mine got stolen.
Oh.
And so Charlie goes, oh, I'll take 6 of them or whatever, 10 of them. And then he puts the other 2 down. And I'm like,
yeah.
So I ended up buying that from Doug.
There you go.
The 10-foot Doug. Everybody calls him 10-foot.
Funny.
Yeah. Those guys were all around. I didn't know anything that I had crossed paths with these guys until later.
It is funny, and that's the thing. That's one of the reasons that I like doing these videos, just because of the fact that it kind of like, regenerates some old memories. I mean, Eric Copeland, the president of Octo, years and years ago when Octo used to take place at that Transporter Garden in Huntington Beach, I remember I was looking for a back window for my deluxe hatch for my 23, and the only piece of glass that I could find was this one piece of glass. Turned out to be a 55 only piece of glass, and I needed it for 62, which was Sigla, which was laminate glass. Eric, whom I didn't know at the time, he said, hey, what you got there? And I said, a piece of glass. And he goes, yeah, for what? And I go, oh, it's a 62. And he goes, it's the wrong year, right? And I go, well, I need a piece of glass. And he goes, it's 55 only. And I go, and he goes, and I've got a 55. I need that glass. So I went, here you go. I thought, okay, the search continues. But Karma would pay me back later, and somebody would actually go ahead and put a rear Safari on their bus, and they had Sigla, and they said, hey, I hear you need this. You can have it. I'm like, all right, finally completed it. But it is kind of weird, you know, looking back now and going, oh, I remember that person, and how time has gone by. Now, speaking of your YouTube channel, so when did you start it?
I don't really know. I was like building buses. Like when I first met you, I was doing buses, and I just build them and was selling them. You know? It was like, I had a slow time in business, so I built a couple of them and sold them. And then at the same time, I built my bus up, my old bus that I had for whatever, I don't know how many years, and sold it. And then I used them, before I sold it, I bought another project. Okay. And it just started perpetuating. Okay. And I was building them all and showing the videos on.
But by trade, just so people know, by trade, Mike he has a professional business. He's a sign painter.
Yeah. And I do sign-related painting, I'm going to say.
Sign-related painting.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like I do walls. They take down the signs, I patch the holes.
All the Starbucks, Bank of America's, blah, blah, blah.
Tons, all that sort of stuff. All the big branding, any big branding. I just looked at a Petco, recently. They gave me the bid at Petco yesterday.
But then you started your channel, then working on all these other cars and doing the how-tos, huh?
Yeah, so this kind of started it kind of started like this. A friend of mine says to me, I said, man, there's Volkswagens everywhere. And he goes, where? And I'm going, he goes, go spend the next week and show me where all the Volkswagens are. Because I used to find them in backyards everywhere all the time. I'd just go find one, buy it, fix it up, sell it, whatever, back in the day. I literally have gone through hundreds, I think, pretty close to hundreds of Volkswagens.
Easily, I'm sure.
And restored them. So most of I did like a body and paint restoration type of thing. And
which is great.
So so I did like body and paint. I would put seat covers on them, put a headliner in it, and make it nice and sell it. So that's what I did. But so what were we talking about?
Your channel. How long have you had it now? How many years has it been now?
It started in about 2015 is when I really started filming stuff. And when I first started, I didn't know how to use a camera very well. I didn't know how to shoot a video. And I was making videos and people were watching it. I was like, these are terrible. I can't believe people watch these. They're horrible. But it was just because there was such a need for Volkswagen related videos and how to fix them that people would watch it.
Right.
And so I'm talking to my buddy back east. He has a channel called 5150 MXVW. And he does some amazing barred finds. A lot of people have watched him. And he's way bigger than me now, of course. He was nothing. And I was watching his video, and so I call him. He calls me and he goes, dude, I'd rather poke my eye with a pencil, a sharp pencil, than watch you point your camera at a fender. Okay, and talk. I mean, you got good information. Move around or something. I'm going, oh, okay. I didn't really know how to. That's how bad I was at videoing. I didn't know anything.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it all started.
Words of wisdom.
Yeah, so it was like, so I started doing things better and better, and started learning little by little how to do it. And then he kind of goes, wow, you're actually getting pretty good at it now.
There we go. All right.
And so I was like, okay, because I'm just trying to do it. I don't know. But the whole reason I started was because I watched videos on YouTube, and all these guys are showing all this metal shaping and doing all this stuff looks really perfect, and the metal looks perfect. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way to look good and nice and last. And so I was like, there's a need for something different.
Right.
People to learn how to do this themselves, because somebody watches that video, they're going to try to do what that guy does. They'll never get it. And the cars are going to all go away because they're going to have a project. They're going to work on it. They're going to realize they're way over their head, and that car's never going to run. And so that's worse. Than actually fixing it wrong. Killer. And then later on, learning how to fix it better. Right? Because the car's saved. It's not in the elements anymore. So that was kind of what got me started.
That's cool.
Doing these videos. And that's what, that's where I started doing it. So I started trying to get better and better. I was like, I got to get better at this, because otherwise the cars are going to be the ones that suffer, So that was the whole.
But that's neat though. I've always been impressed with, a lot of times people do stuff, just to really try to get something out of it for themselves, and dude, these take time, they cost money, and so, the amount of time that you put into it and the effort, but the neat thing is that you're doing it to, amplify the community on the hobby, and also to get the community to realize, hey, I can do that. I can do that on my own. I can learn from it, which I think is great. Which is what Volkswagen's really, for the most part, growing up, was all about. Where it's kind of like, hey, these are easy. Yeah, exactly. They have gotten more expensive.
Oh, they're way expensive.
So I think it definitely makes a difference to go ahead and get somebody that knows what they're doing to show you, so you're not wasting time, materials, and money. So no, kudos to you for doing that. Now, I do want to ask you something, because this is kind of interesting, but a lot of people don't know it. But you had a near-death experience a few years back.
I did.
Tell us about it, dude.
The heart attack, you mean? Oh, yeah. It was a freak out thing. It was in 2019.
You're on top of the mountain.
Yeah, dude. I was I was like, you know what? I've got to go skiing. I love to ski. I've always been a double black diamond skier. I ski, and luckily I didn't go where I usually go, which would be Mountain Baldy, which is like 2 ski patrol guys in the whole mountain, maybe, or something. You know? There's areas of there that they wouldn't find you for a week, so you'd be dead, you know. So, but I went to Mountain High because I was like, God, I just wanted to drive up to Baldy, and it was a couple days after the snow. I like to go like right after it snows and then go to Baldy, and then it's ungroomed and, you know, just all that powder and
fresh.
All that stuff. So I go to Mountain High, and I go to the top of the lower hill, and I'm skiing really good, going down. I'm all warmed up. I'm doing hard turns, leaning completely over, where you're like falling, and then your ski edges catch, and then your knees just bend, and then you fall the other way. You know, I was doing these hard turns going down the mountain. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I get to the top of the mountain, and for the next run, and I'm like, don't feel right. My chest, and I'm feeling really dizzy. Like, man, I feel like I haven't eaten anything in a week.
Wow.
And I'm just really weak feeling. And I was just like standing there, and I kind of stood there for a while. I went, yeah, listen, if I don't go sit down over there, I'm going to fall down. So I sat down on the place where they do the boots.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the chest pain hit me. And the first thing I thought of is, how far away is the nearest hospital?
Oh man, you're at the top of the mountain. Yeah.
I'm at the top of the mountain. And so I tell the guy next to me, I go, hey dude, I'm having a heart attack. He goes, are you sure? I go, yeah, absolutely sure. And he goes, yeah. He goes, so this guy goes over, gets a ski patrol. Luckily they were like 25 or 30 feet away. So they come over and they get me. They already had an ambulance at the bottom of the mountain that quick.
Wow.
Because there's one like a mile away. The guy takes me down the mountain as fast as I ski down.
Wow.
And he's got me on the gurney thing, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, man, you know, if this didn't hurt so bad, this would be fun. I was like, that's what I told the guy. I said, dude, I wish I didn't like have this pain right now, because this is awesome.
Exhilarating,
you know? So we get down to the bottom of the mountain, and the guy goes, and then so the ambulance driver does an EKG. And so he runs my EKG, and I see him kind of like turn white. You know, I see the guy kind of go questioning what he's looking at. And I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So he kind of goes, and he goes, let me run it again.
Wow.
Because what he's seeing is half my heart was not working at all. So I was 100% LAD. Most people die. I don't know how. I made it.
Wow.
45 minutes.
Wow.
From that top of the mountain to the hospital.
Wow.
And luckily I never passed out. And I was just joking with everybody along the way.
And they're probably wondering how the hell is this guy like?
This guy's like, you know, because he kind of gets done. He did my second EKG, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of whispered. He walks over to the other guy and went like this and whispered in his ear. And I think he said, haul ass.
Wow.
Seriously.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I made it to the hospital. The doctor went in, did the stent, and he goes, you know, I still have weird stuff now too, but he does a stent and he goes, your heart came back. You're going to be 100%. I go, what? He goes, yeah, you're super lucky.
Wow. Dude.
So yeah, I had a next view on life after that day, man. It was like, you know, I had all this money saved. I had everything. I was like, first time in my life I could actually kind of like cruise.
Yeah.
And this happens. And I'm like, wow, this is it? You know? Well, it's not that way now.
Yeah.
You know, I've lost a lot of that money because of COVID. But
right. But Mike, I mean,
I'm still really positive, you know.
It's, you know, I've always said that a lot of things I believe happen for a reason. And dude, you're here obviously for a reason. And there's a lot of people actually that, you know, love seeing you, love watching you. We see you at shows and everything. And so that's why I was saying at the beginning of this video, the day before Valentine's, let's show Mike a little bit of love. You know, and it's cool to learn that about you. So thank you for being so candid and actually sharing that, man. Because I remember when you told me, I was blown away, dude. And now here you are still cranking out videos, dude, which is awesome.
Yeah, trying
to. No, not trying.
It was never an intention for it to be, the monetization thing was going to be like, just to kind of help maybe someday of retirement, maybe
it's
someday.
got to pay for expenses, dude.
Yeah, it's got to cover. That's
this
exactly
takes time.
right.
This takes time.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. I had to do it. I had to monetize it because it takes time away from from everything.
Dude,
so,
I don't think anybody would blame you
now
for that.
Now I'm to the point where everything else is kind of diminished.
Well, yeah, after COVID, man, I remember your business started like tanking, and so now it's like, okay, well, time to shift gears. I think a lot of people are doing that now with AI. Some people are being replaced, and so you've got to come up with a different hustle, So the cool
I've always
part
had 2 or 3 hustles all my life. I did loans on the side. I did all these. I've always had, and then all those things have gone. So like I can't do loans anymore because of the federal licensing requirements. All these things they took away.
It makes it super difficult.
And then, so I had all these other back door things, and all I had now is YouTube. So now I'm just like, I got to make it happen.
Yeah.
So somehow, it's slowly growing.
And Mike, that's why I wanted to do this video, just because of the fact that you and I, we were chatting years before when I was doing YouTube for Hot VWs, and we took apart the Santa Barbara bus.
I mean, you got the experience. You've done all this. You've done a lot of Spanish. He speaks Spanish, by the way. Didn't know. I mean, he speaks amazing Spanish.
A lot of people don't know Spanish is my first language.
And you never think that when you talk to them, but.
I've been very, very happy and fortunate that because of my Spanish, it opened up a lot of doors, and I've done a lot of stuff at Disney, still doing stuff at Disney. But aside from that, I help, Hot VWs and
that
and
experience
then with you
should tie into this, and that's why I was like, hey,
but
do
you know
what? Do your YouTube.
I'll tell you though, as long as we're talking, trivia and reasons for, a lot of people don't know it, but what's funny, because a lot of people think that my channel is just VW related. Originally, when you were the one that said, hey, you know what, you should really do this. Not too far from here, on the way to Wolfsburg West, a couple times more, every morning when I would go pick up parts, I would see a lady going up Palisades, super, super steep street. And it was clear that she must have had a stroke or something, and she walked with a cane. And every day, man, no matter rainy, whatever, she was navigating this hill. And I'm into endurance sports. I love endurance sports. And so every single time that I would see this lady, I would think, dude, she really motivates me, because here she is no matter what, So one day I thought, and this is just me, I thought, I'm going to write her a note. I'm going to write her a note, letting her know how much she motivates me, a stranger. One day I pulled over, didn't want to freak her out, saw her, and I told her, I said, hey, just wanted to go ahead and give you this note. And unfortunately, I told her everything that was in the note already. And she was really blown away. And it was interesting because she did share with me, she said, I had a pretty bad stroke a few years ago. And she said, I can't drive, do this, that. And she said, but she goes, you know what though? She said, all of that doesn't really matter. She said, I'm out here, I'm enjoying listening to the birds. It's a beautiful day. She said, my daughter just graduated from college a couple of years ago. She said, life is really good. And I forget where she was from. She wasn't from here. But it was so incredibly inspiring that she was just so positive, And I thought to myself, I left and I thought, man, people get pissed off at the stupidest stuff, And I thought, here's this lady who could be pissed off about a lot of stuff, but she's not. And instead, she's giving out positivity. And I thought, how cool would it be to go ahead and actually have a channel where we talk about positivity and so on and so forth. And so, but because being in the VW industry is just kind of morphed into that. But I wanted to not just focus on the cars, I wanted to focus on the people. And so I think
I remember you saying that.
And circling back to that, Mike, you're always positive, which is really cool. And you're always,
not always.
You're like a good,
I mean, I have my days, believe me.
No, I know, which is fine. Dude, you're human. But my point is that you're always like this cheerleader on the sideline, really giving people kudos for what they've done, or hey, if you do this and that, you're always there to go ahead and be friendly, give advice, and I think a lot of people appreciate it. So I think it's awesome, dude. So kudos to you.
It's good to say.
I hope it keeps growing for you. So
me too.
It
has to.
It has to. Exactly.
I'm beyond. It's beyond I hope it's it has to now.
Right.
That's what it will.
And it will.
It's going to.
Yeah. No, I think it's cool. But you guys, so speaking of that, I've always said that, I wanted to focus on the Volks of the Volkswagen, the Volks, the people, which we have. And Mike actually brought the wagon and the people's car, right? And so, Mike, Tell us what you brought. I just went for a ride in this thing.
Yeah.
You guys, this thing
yeah, we
hauls
can do
ass.
that. Let's do that. Oh, yeah.
So
this is a 54. I got this from a guy who, again, it was the same thing. You know, I always tell people, listen, finish your car. Don't sit there and be so picky about every little thing because you'll never get it done. And this car was one of those ones that he had it since 1980, I think.
oh my gosh.
And it was in a spray booth and it sat there and got rustier and rustier, and he never got to start it. Well, then he retired from his job and became ill.
Oh no.
And now he's still alive, but he can't do anything like this anymore.
That sucks.
So, and he was the guy he built engines. He worked at Carcraft. He was the guy that, you know, people knew him, and he was, you know, and now he just can't do it. So
that's too bad, man.
He handed off the torch to me. You know, I actually was lucky enough. A 54 project car that's complete is super hard to find. You know, you're not gonna find something like this.
Yeah, big time.
And he got it. A friend of mine called me first before they got it. They got it listed in the soundbite, and he goes, "Well, I want you to get first dibs on it." So I came and looked at it, and I was like, going through all the parts, and I'm like, wow, this thing's really complete. So I ended up buying it for probably more than I should have, but I just wanted it.
But you know what though? I mean, like to your point, you're not going to find them that often. What's this color called?
This is called Strato Silver. It's like one of my favorite colors.
It's such a rich color,
yeah,
man.
and I matched it myself. I had these paint guys and it was like they send me out like gray, and I'm like, it's not gray, it's really
You're like
blue.
wrong.
And so I finally got it to where I took the door panels off and painted behind, when I painted the jams on it in here.
Oh wow.
The behind here is the original paint.
Okay.
And you can't see a transition.
All right.
And I didn't blend it or anything. I just painted right here, painted all this area, and then cleared the whole thing. And the original color's still there. And it's a really tight match.
Awesome.
It's all, you know, 98%, maybe 99%.
I love the red interior.
And then I did all the sewing, all the red upholstery myself. I did everything.
That's impressive,
paint,
Mike.
engine,
I mean, there's not too many people that could say, "Hey, man, I painted it. I did the interior."
Yeah, I did the headliner. Great. That's all done by me too. I actually, the headliner was in a box in the car.
No way.
It was kind of like a velour, but it looks kind of like the original, really. Like, you know, it looks close to the mohair.
Yep, the mohair. I love the carpet,
it was in the car, and it was in there, and it had a couple moth holes in it, but I was like, screw it, I'm running it.
Totally, dude.
It's free.
Yeah.
So,
well, not to mention it was probably kind of old.
Yeah. So
now, dude, I mentioned that this thing hauls ass because when we first got in it, talk to me, dude. What's in this thing?
We got Wolfsburg West Acrasa reproduction kit in here. The full thing. We went with the crankshaft, the 69.5 millimeter crank. I have the forged pistons from Wolfsburg West, and Tony graciously gave me a real good deal on all that so that we could show the whole video on the engine build.
That is cool.
So from Wolfsburg West, they really helped us out by helping us get this out there, because they were like, you know, Tony was really proactive I said, listen, I can't afford to do it. And he goes, come over. We'll do something.
That's neat.
So
that is awesome.
You know,
he's
Tony's
definitely
not just
a generous dude, man.
They're not just another big VW business. They're out there to really try and help.
Well, the cool part is too, I mean, Tony actually is like one of the, he's been an enthusiast for many, many years. I think, I want to say it was 1986 that he won, he won at one of the shows, one of the first big shows. I think it was a classic, 1986 VW Classic, I want to say. And, he's always, I mean, back then they didn't have reproduction parts. So you either had to, like you said, go source it from a junkyard or make it yourself.
Well, back then you could go to the dealer sometimes and you look up new old stock, you could find stuff. I remember going to the dealer and actually buying rubber.
Regarding the Acrasa kit, I know for a fact that he spent so much time and money on that project, and just when you thought it's going to get scrapped, he kept going, man. And so it's pretty impressive. Yeah, That, I will say, Tony is definitely one of the hardest workers that I've ever known, man. And that guy, when he puts his nose down to the grindstone and he's hell-bent on doing something,
he's doing it for the right
you know?
reason. You know, he's
Which
not
is
just,
great.
it's not
which
just
is cool.
about,
so that's
all money.
awesome,
you know?
dude. This thing feels super strong. Here's a question for you. What are these, dude?
Those are, so on here, so you know, these taillights are really dim and the bumper conflicts with them. So this was an original American spec bumper car.
Right.
So most of these had the Euro spec bumpers, right?
Okay.
Back in '54.
Yeah, just the blade.
But this one here came with these overrider style bumpers.
Okay.
And so these conflicted back in that day with the tail light.
Blocks it. Totally blocks it.
So
right.
these are motorcycle Harley Davidson type, you know, tail lights.
Okay.
To give you more light in the back.
I like that.
So that I don't get rear-ended. You know?
Right. Well, that's like your semaphore turn signals, right?
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
people don't
Nobody
even see
knows what those are, right?
They're like, they see it go stick out. Like, what's that guy doing with that thing? And then all of a sudden they turn left. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So,
I remember I was driving my 54, in fact, my barn door, and coming home from the treff, and I thought, okay, I got to get this thing home. And you can't even smell a beer because you know you're going to get pulled over.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough, got pulled over, and an officer comes up to me. He's like, your turn signals don't work. And I'm like, well, those aren't my turn signals. Those are my running lights that, you know, your brake light on your deck lid. So let me show you the turn signals. And the cop was like 28, and he goes, whoa, those are really cool. Yeah, you know, and I'm like,
and then he's like, he kind of lets you go. I didn't smell the alcohol. Oh, I'm cool.
I was like, all right, good, because my wipers don't work and it's starting to miss, so I gotta go.
Yeah.
Now this thing is really, really beautiful.
Yeah.
You did a great job, man. I think it's awesome.
It's just,
and it's fun, dude. Fun to ride in.
It's fun. It's fun to drive. It's fun to ride in, and I got a couple little oil leaks I got to finish fixing on it.
Seems apropos for
project,
Volkswagen, you know?
Yeah, it's a Volkswagen. I think the fuel pump's leaking oil. That's what it is. I mean, but
still 6 volt?
Still 6 volt. Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Well, now they have in Europe, they have a 12 volt,
small body one.
Yeah,
small body 12 volt. No, that's pretty
don't
awesome.
Know that exists, and
some of
it I didn't even know exists. One of my subscribers told me.
Okay, really?
In a comment.
Oh, how funny!
Yeah, so you learn a lot from other people. I mean,
that's a
you
cool
guys
thing.
that
Keep
watch
the community going.
Yeah, you guys that watch are just as much of the channel as to me I am.
No, I think it's great, man.
It's kind of a, I don't know, would you call it, like collaboration of all the people that watch.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it's like you got your channel, I got my channel, but the neat thing is, you know, it's basically an environment where everybody can go ahead and, you know, just kind of, there's enough of the pie to go around. And I think one of the biggest things now, especially with channels and, you know, podcasts and social media, is the sharing of information.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And, you know, I've always said it'd be cool to go up to people, you know, like Ron Fleming, Gary Berg, and so forth, and put a little SD card in their brain and just download all the knowledge that they have. But we can't.
We can do as much as you can, at least get them to
talk about it. Yeah, talk about it and record it.
So they are. Yeah.
No, I think it's cool. Well, Mike, seriously, I know that you and I, we could chat forever and a day, but you guys, I really wanted to go ahead and obviously highlight Mike's story. And dude, thank you so much.
Oh, appreciate it.
Thank you for everything that you do for the VW community. I'm so glad that, you know, obviously, man, you came down from the mountain and you beat death, dude.
Oh, yeah,
you beat death. So
scary.
You're here for a reason, you know. Yeah. So when you guys see Mike at the next show, definitely go up to him and give him a pat on the back. Not too hard.
Yeah.
Show Mike some love, you guys, because we're happy to have him around, and hopefully you guys will see him at the next show, and check out his channel, obviously, Mike Effin Garage. And
it's on the shirt now. Hopefully we're gonna have these out.
Some shirts
we're gonna have these out pretty soon. This one may or may not be what the design is. This was a test thing.
All right.
We're working really hard at trying to get it done, but I have so many irons in the fire. It's really hard for me to take time out to get pictures over to somebody, and you know, and then we're working on it. It's going to happen probably this week. This week.
Good.
We're gonna have
there you
go.
So. Making it happen. Anyway, dude, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate your time and your effort, dude.
All right.
Awesome. Bye, you guys. Thanks for watching.